If I had to ask you, what was the direct link to the quality of your life, what would you say?
Mindset.
Good. What else?
Family.
What
Family.
else? Spit it out. Mindset, family,
This company.
this company.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
Action.
What makes you think, how is this company the direct link to the quality of your life?
Without it, I wouldn't have a lot of the things I have.
So the abundance of it, like the financial stuff. Okay.
Well, not only that.
All right, what
Choices, life choices and everything.
So some level of freedom.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Any other guesses or thoughts? Money? Probably true to that. The study shows that the quality of your life is directly related to the quality of your communication. The quality of your life is the quality of your communication. So it's a pretty basic idea, and I don't think it's anything completely earth-shattering, but I'm going to tell you that your entire life comes down to the quality of your entire life. Depends on the quality of how you communicate. But do you know who it matters who you communicate with first?
Yourself.
That's right. The quality of your life starts with the quality of how you communicate with yourself. So whoever said mindset was right in the sense that we communicate to ourselves how we're going to think. And that's where it all starts. And how you feel on a day-to-day basis is not based on the environment that you're in. So when you say like the work and stuff, well, sure, that plays into it, but it's based upon how you communicate to yourself about where you're in. Like how you feel, that's based on whether or not you have lots of money, yes or no?
No.
No.
What is your guess? Is how you feel based on whether you have a ton of money or not? Yes or no?
No.
It helped.
Mixed feelings on that one, right? Well, maybe, but no. Well, have you ever met somebody with lots of money, but was still really unhappy? Yes or no?
Yes.
Totally. I worked with a billionaire that cried to me every week. They were so depressed. Have you ever met somebody that was living off of like minimal funds and was pretty happy? Yes or no?
Yes.
I have, totally. So does money really determine your happiness? Yes or no?
No.
No. Now, if you were to have $1 billion in the bank, would you be happy? Yeah, sure, right. Yeah. Some joke and say people that say money can't buy you happiness, they don't know where to shop. You ever hear that joke? So, but the truth is, money really doesn't buy you happiness. See, that's not what's going to do it. It's not the money. It's how you communicate to yourself about the money or the lack thereof, or the abundance that you think you have or that you don't have. It's how you feel, yes or no, determined by the weather?
No.
Is it yes or no?
No.
Are people in freezing weather happy?
Sometimes.
Alaskans.
Are Alaskans happy?
Yeah, I think so. Some.
Are people in warm weather happy?
Some.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weather doesn't determine it. It really doesn't. Is your happiness based off of people telling you they love you or not?
I like that.
What's that?
I like that. I like.
Dave does love the love.
Yeah.
Well, we can think it does, right? What happens when somebody comes up and says, I love you, or comes up and hugs us or kisses us passionately, and we get all like those gooey feelings inside? What are those feelings? What are they from? Is it really the kiss that did it? I don't think so. It wasn't the kiss. It was the meaning associated to that particular moment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If it was just the kiss, you would be happy kissing a total stranger that you weren't even attracted to. If somebody that you totally were unattracted to, mentally, physically, spiritually, came up and kissed you, you didn't feel all gooey because it's not the kiss. you might be like, ugh, to that kiss because of the meaning you gave that. Okay. But the person that you desire kisses you and you're like, oh, right. It's the meaning that you give behind the action. It's not so much the person. It isn't actually the event at all. It's rather that we communicated to ourselves about the event. And so when somebody hugs you and you feel good, do they make you feel good? Yes or no?
Yeah. No.
All together now. Does that make you feel good? Yes or no? Thoughts?
Yeah.
Yes. No.
What makes you feel good is you've got a set of rules inside of your head, and someone touching me quite like this, and they look at me quite like that, and they smell like this, and they feel like this, and you get all whatever. Ooh, right? So we say it's time to feel good, and our brain, our programming, our pattern goes, okay, I got you. I understand. And then we feel good. It's not really the person. It's the meaning that we give behind it. So the bottom line is we determine how we feel by the way we communicate with ourselves, and therefore how we communicate with others, by the meaning that we communicate about the event or the situation. See, it's not the event that makes us feel. It's the meaning we associate to the event that determines how we feel. And that meaning is something we communicate and we create ourselves. Do you understand? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you are upset about anything, all upsets come down to the meaning we associate to something. If you're upset about something, it's because you're thinking, well, because this means they don't care about me, or this means they don't appreciate me, or this means they didn't listen, or this means they didn't follow the rules to this, or this means I'm no longer in control, or this means I'm not respected, or this means, etc. All upset is based on meaning. And how many people are wrong when you've tried to link meaning? If you had to guess, how many people do you think are wrong when they link meaning?
When they link meaning,
When they link, L-I-N-K, when they link meaning to something without talking to the person.
Oh, remember like 75%?
More, about 86% of the time. A lot of people. We've all been wrong. So what we have to be able to do, and that is to realize one thing, and that is this: nothing, and you might want to jot this down if you guys are ever taking notes. Nothing in life has any meaning except the meaning that we give it. It could be a situation at work. It could be a situation with a customer. It could be a situation anywhere. You're the one that puts the label on what things mean. And the label we put on our experience becomes our experience. And we're the ones doing the labeling. Now, granted, most of us are on autopilot. We're using a labeling and a communication process that we aren't even labeling consciously. And we can easily point to the other person or people and show how they created that feeling and meaning for us, and certainly blame them. And certainly they helped us get to that certain state. They helped us by giving us some feedback, but we're still the ones that determine and give meaning to the feeling. I'll give you an example. I read this story, it must have been 8 years ago at this point, of this surfer who was out surfing in Hawaii, and a shark came up and bit his leg off, literally. And so, yeah, you'd think he'd be really upset. I mean, why would you be upset if you lost your leg? I mean, I would be, right? After the initial pain, why would you stay upset? Because of the meaning. What would be the meaning that made you feel upset all the time? And it really comes down to the meaning of loss, that you had lost something. See, almost all pain that you're ever going to feel in your life, that pain is going to make you upset, but it all starts in one place. Pain starts with a feeling of loss, Like, can you ever really lose anything? Well, only if you perceive there's loss. And that's true. So in other words, you have to tell yourself that there was a loss. You have to communicate to yourself something. This man was not upset at all. In fact, he lost a leg and he's concerned about the shark. And he was sincere about it because his belief was that he was responsible, not the shark, because he was a surfer. He knew that the area that he was surfing in, there were sharks all over. He was thrashing around in the water and they think it's something else and will come after him. His concern was that people were so upset about it that people were going to go out and kill the shark in that area, which is what they usually do. So the meaning to him was, this was a learning experience to him. To others, it would mean I'm maimed for life. It's all in communication. If he were to say, I'm maimed for life, I will never be the same. I will never be able to accomplish anything because I have, one leg. A woman will never love me now. I'll be a gimp the rest of my life. If he had linked those meanings to the event, do you think he'd be in the same state? Yes or no?
No.
Is there one person in the room? Yes or no?
Oh,
No.
No way. So I was fascinated by this. So I set up an interview and I interviewed people who had lost something, but still live happy lives in the state of absolute joy and actually give back to others. So I interviewed them, and what I learned was they have developed a belief system that have helped them to interrupt human behavior in a way that causes them not to be upset. They have given just different meaning to what shapes the quality of their life. They change their communication because no matter what happens in life, they finally figured out something. If you want to succeed in life, figure out how it works and then do it that way, not the way you think it should be done. Most of us run around life with these rules of how life should be and how other people should be and how events should be and how doctors should be and patients should be and celebrities should be. But who they are going to be is exactly how they really are, not how you want them to be. Your customers are never going to be who you want them to be. They're going to be who they are. Your coworkers are never going to be who you want them to be. They're going to be who you are. And hopefully with knowledge like this, we personally develop ourselves and develop into more sound, grounded, emotionally in control people. But then see what happens is when people don't meet your criteria, then, you communicate to yourself that it's time to be annoyed or impatient or frustrated or feel disrespected or unheard. And therefore you disrespect other people. Or maybe a more intense word, is you get all pissed off and shitty to them. And when you have an upset of any sort, you're feeling some negative emotion. And it always comes down to you feeling that you have a feeling of what?
anger.
But what stems these negative feelings? A feeling of loss.
Loss.
Got to write that word loss down. That's where all upset comes from. If you lost a friend or you lost a partner or you lost money or you lost a job or you lost your cool, it's all a part of loss. But again, you have to ask yourself, do you ever really lose? No, you don't ever lose anything. It just changes form. Nothing in the entire universe ever disappears. Nothing. Your physical body, maybe, not rocks, not stones. Everything in the universe simply just transforms. Even we transform into ashes. The first thing we know is emotion is created by motion. So there's this triad, right? The first thing is your physiology. We've talked about that, your state. The second part of that triad is focus and belief. And that relates to one another. See, whatever you focus on, you're going to feel, whether it's true or not. Focus equals feelings, just like the way you move affects your feelings. Right now, if I said to you, and just think about this to yourself, what are you excited about right now in your life? What excites you? If you really wanted to be excited in your life right now, what could you be excited about? The scary part to me is when people say nothing, that they have nothing to be excited about in life. And if that's the case, you better find something to be excited about. Get something. Or what are you proud of? If I walked up to each one of you, and I can't wait to see you in person, and just said, what are you proud of? Or what could you be proud of if you wanted to be proud? Or who in your life do you really love? Who loves you? Think about it for a quick moment. Who do you really love? And who loves you? Just think about that. Is it a parent? Is it a child? Is it a spouse? Is it a friend? See, what you focus on, you're going to feel. Focus equals reality to the individual, even if it's not real in actuality. That sort of messed me up when I first heard it years ago. Let me say that again. Focus equals reality to the individual, even though it's not reality in actuality. It's a very fancy way of saying that what you focus on, you're going to feel whether it's true or not, because your brain doesn't know the difference between something you vividly imagine and focus on and something that you actually experienced. And it's very powerful to know this. We can create a story in our head that somebody's cheating on us. And by the time we see that person, we are enraged. And what they were really doing when they didn't answer the phone was preparing your, surprise party. And we have created such a story that was true in our brain, but wasn't real in actuality. Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
We do that all the time, all
Tony,
the time. Yeah.
can you say that one more time? Reality to the individual.
Yeah. So focus equals reality to the individual, even though it's not reality in actuality.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So our belief system, like I said, we can create a story that's really real in our brain because our brain doesn't know the difference. Our brain doesn't know the difference between something we imagine and something that's real because of the intensity of how we communicate it with such certainty, which is one of those human needs. And then our belief system gets developed. Now, if you use this to your advantage, it means something very simple. How fast can you change how you feel? Tell me.
Like that.
Pretty quick.
Pretty quick. You can change how you feel as fast as you can change your focus. As fast as you change your focus is as fast as you can change how you feel. See, right now, if you're focused on something that's really upsetting or something that's driven by fear or something that you're worried about or fearful about or pissed off about, you're going to feel those things. And if you're focused on something that you're really grateful for and not just generic things, that because you think that those are the right things to say, but something that you're really grateful for, but to stop and think of what you are truly grateful for, you're going to get a totally new set of feelings. You're in control and you can change your feelings and focus in an instant. I want everybody to look around the room right now and just shout out something you see that's black.
Dave's hat.
Chair.
Table.
Chair.
Now I want you right now to look around and shout out something that's white.
Wall.
Kathy jacket.
Got it.
Good one, Art.
That's more cream color.
Wait, what did you just say? Wait, what did you just say? Who just said cream color something?
Amber, his wife.
Okay, Amber is like dead on because I love that Amber said that because listen, I had you guys change your focus from looking to something from black to white in a nanosecond. And that's how quickly you can change how you feel. But what I like about Amber saying it was cream color or whoever pointed that out is because our brain, if it's really looking for something, will take something that's not really it and try to morph it. Like if somebody says, look for a circle, I may find an oval and my brain's looking that hard for it. So that was a good call. Something that was cream, she's going to say is white because our brain's trying to make it that. That's how quick you can change your focus. As quickly as I asked you a question, what do you see black to what do you see white, is as quickly as you can change your feeling when you focus on what you're pissed off about or what you're grateful for. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You can control and change your feelings by changing your focus, by asking different questions, what's black, what's white, in an instant. The problem is you don't believe you can change things that fast. And the second problem is we have a pattern of doing things, right? So we tend to, on a regular basis, focus on what overwhelms us or what upsets us or what worries us. What are we upset with in our spouse or ourselves or the job, or we focus on why we failed in the past. And I mean, come on. If you keep focusing on the things you didn't succeed in, guess what? You're going to feel what? You're going to feel like a failure. And when you feel like a failure, you're not going to take action to make things better. And you can't build on a past that doesn't work. But instead, you can focus on what you do want, what you want to create, the solution. When you have a problem, I mean, everyone has problems, But 95% of people's time has to be spent on the solution and 5% on the problem. Now, most of us spend all of the time focusing on the problem more and more and more and more. And then they go into more and more and more detail, explaining the problem over and over again. And what started it? Why we got here? Why is it still bad? Why the problem keeps growing and growing? Why it will never change? Why this person will never change? Why they're always going to be the problem in the company? And then everything gets more blown up and the feelings become more overwhelming and intense because all that's being focused on is the problem or the person. This person's the problem. This is the problem. Focus is the secret key to changing. And you can do it as quickly as you saw what was black versus what was white. One way to change your focus is to change the third thing, what we're talking about today, your language patterns. You see, all day long, we're thinking. And now if you break it down, what is thinking? You guys should know this. You can't think without first doing what? Does anybody know? How do we start thinking?
Question.
Who just said that?
Me.
Who's me? Who is me?
Hey,
Oh, Hank. Oh, Hank came through. Hi, Hank. Yes. Yes. Hank gets the gold star. Yes. Asking and answering questions. You cannot think without first asking a question. What is black? What is white? All day long, you ask and answer questions with yourself. Should I do this? What if I do that? What if this is a waste of time or money? Am I in the right job? Am I in the right position? What does this mean? Why does this happen to me all day long? Why don't people like me? Why do people love me so much? That's what initiates thinking, questions. What the problem is that most people have patterns of questions that don't serve them.
Right.
Questions like, how could this happen to me? How come nobody loves me? What did I do to deserve this? How come I didn't get this? How come this always is the problem? How come this person never listens to me? It doesn't always happen to you. But if you are in the pattern of asking lousy questions to yourself like that on a regular basis, your brain has to give you an answer, right? And since the question is lousy, your answer will be lousy. Your brain is going to tell you because you're an idiot. Why can't I lose weight ever? Well, you can lose weight, but ask a lousy question and you receive a lousy answer. We've learned this before. How come I can never lose weight? Because your brain says, well, because you're a lazy pig that never follows through on anything. And now you're going to act like a lazy pig that never follows through on anything. You've got to come up with a better question. What am I going to do today to lose weight? How am I going to move my body today that'll allow me to make better food choices? Questions form us. Questions shape our lives. So if you want to change your life, the one thing you have to discover is what questions you're asking yourself. And also, what phrases do you say a lot? Communication is the direct link to the quality of your life. Phrases hypnotize you, by the way. Certain words by themselves will change how you feel and how you focus. If somebody says to you, hey, listen, I think you misunderstood me there and you're mistaken about that, you'll have one feeling about that. Now, if somebody says you're wrong, you're going to feel something very different. Now, if somebody says you're a fucking liar, that's not what happened. You're going to have a majorly different feeling to that. Saying, I think you misunderstood, so you're an effing liar. Big difference. One word can change. When I said fuck, you all looked up for the first time. The first time in a year that I had all your attention when I said fuck. One word.
Start throwing
One
it
word.
out. You'll have us.
What did you say? You said.
One word.
Direct link, what was that
She
called?
said it was
To
fucking-
the quality of your life.
To the quality.
The communication is the direct link to the quality of your life. One word can change the way you feel when somebody else speaks it to you. So clearly the words you select powerfully affect you as well. I mean, just being positive and doing positive thinking thing where you have to use positive self-talk. I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And by golly, people like me. No. If you don't believe it, if you put Post-it notes all over your house that say I am beautiful and you don't believe you're beautiful, it doesn't matter. Positive thinking is better than negative thinking, but it won't change your physiology or your state or your biochemistry. I mean, noticing the habit of the words and the emotions that they create. You have to know how you speak to yourself, because how you feel on a daily basis is directly linked to how you talk to yourself, not how other people talk to you. By the way, you only get what you tolerate anyway. And the next part of language is the phrases you say are made with such emotion, such emotional intensity that you start believing them. Those are called incantations, by the way. Think about stories where somebody would tell, about the prince over again, that he was a frog. Remember they told the prince that old story that he was a frog, and then he started to believe he was a frog. So of course he acted like a frog. That's what he experienced. He believed whatever he focused on. We feel whatever we picture. What we feel, whatever we say to ourselves. We feel whatever we do with our bodies. And those are the three patterns: emotion, focus, and language. If you change any of the three, and emotion, remember, motion breeds emotion. So if you change your physiology, which is what we talked about the last time we talked, your state, if you change what you focus on, and you change how you speak to yourself, emotion, focus, and language, if you change any one of the three, you're going to change how you feel. If you change all three, you're going to feel massive changes. If you change the pattern of how you use your body, if you change the pattern of what you focus on daily, if you change the pattern with what you say to yourself with emotional intensity of how you say it, you're going to change the pattern on how you feel. Now that means that you can feel anything you want. So you say, okay, I want to feel this certain way. So what do I have to do with my body to feel that way? How do I have to stand? If I want to feel confident, how do I have to stand? How do I have to breathe? How do I have to speak? Try it. It's the power of focus. I mean, look, you can focus on one thing, but it's all about the meaning, right? The meaning behind the focus. Questions turn to thinking. Thinking, which is focus, we have to give meaning to. Meaning creates an emotion. An emotion creates what we do or not do, and that creates the result. That's the power of focus. You can focus on one thing, but it's all about the meaning. One thing can happen and someone can say, because that happened, that's why I can never be with another man or woman again in my life. That's why I can never trust or love again. Now, someone else can have that same experience and say, you know what? Because that happened, I've learned so much about myself in life. And because that happened, I appreciate the person I'm with so much more. This person doesn't cheat on me. I love them so much more. Or this person cheated on me. I'll never love again. It's the meaning that we give to the event. Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
See, one person can think their life is over because something has happened, and they give it that meaning. And somebody else will say, you know what? God's challenging me. It's time to go to the next level. And then they put their foot on the gas. The only difference in those two people, the ones that give up and maybe take their own lives, and the other ones that thrive, is the meaning they're giving to that event. Do you understand?
Yes.
It's huge to understand this. We have absolute choice. We have absolute control in how we feel, and whatever feelings we put in our lives on a daily basis will determine the quality of your life. That means how good or bad your life is. You're giving this talk right now meaning. This girl's an idiot. I can't believe I had to sit here. Or shit, I better change the way I'm thinking. You're doing one or the other right now. You can have frustration, anger, be upset, be overwhelmed, be insecure. You can be fearful, live in a state of guilt or worry, whatever. Or you can live in a place of passion, joyfulness, thankfulness, gratefulness, connection, growth, love, meaning, wonder. If you create these emotions on a daily basis, are you going to have a different life? Yes or no? If I create emotion of fear every day versus joy, is my life going to be different? Yes or no?
Yes.
You bet it. You better believe it. So how do we take these three understandings and instead of just thinking about them, implement them? and condition ourselves to create the emotions we want and get rid of the emotions you don't want. Well, the first step is awareness. When I work with people one-on-one, I'm like, you have to tell me the questions you ask on a daily basis. We have to become aware of your questions. When you have those moments of feeling frustrated or annoyed or less relevant, whatever, this is how you do it. Now, whether you choose to do it or not, that's up to you, but this is how you do it. I want you to first stop before you do anything and notice your body. What are your cheeks doing? How is your breathing? What's happening to your eyebrows? Are they up or down? Are you tightening your fingers in your hand? Because we all have very specific things to do to get into our version of anger or frustration. My old partner used to say when I went like this, she knew that I was pissed off because my lips were together and I was rocking, and I didn't even know that that was my pattern. We all have patterns to get into a state. We all have very specific things to do to get into the version of, like I just said, anger or frustration. Notice your body, your breathing. Say, okay.
Okay.
Thank you to yourself. Say, okay, I'm breathing more shallow right now. So let's start there with my breath. Let's bring it back to long, controlled breaths. Loosen your jaw, maybe. So the first thing when you feel this state of discomfort, any feeling that doesn't feel good, notice your body. Just take a second. Just takes a second to do it. I'm not saying to go sit under a tree for 20 years. Just take a second. The second thing is ask yourself, what am I focusing on? So to help you understand the belief part, ask yourself, in order to feel this way, what do I have to believe? Like, what am I feeling right now? Pissed off. What do I have to believe right now to be pissed off? I believe that this person disrespected me. You see what I'm saying? You have to ask yourself the belief part. What do I have to believe? To stay frustrated, what do I have to believe? You have to believe that it should be better than it is, and it's not working. Well, maybe it isn't working, but is that going to help you focus on what is working? We need to focus on what we can do and not what isn't happening. Living in the realm of what you don't want, not what you do want, will leave you in a place in life where you're going to feel really, really stuck. So let's say you're feeling hopeless. In order to feel hopeless, you have to believe that there is nothing you can do to fix the problem. So you focus on staying in this state of being able to change nothing. That nothing you can do can fix the problem. Now, is that really true? Really? That there's nothing you can do to fix something? Or are you just caught up in the state of mind? You're caught up in a pattern. The thing is, if you ask yourself, what do I have to believe to feel this way? It will help you break that part of the pattern, because you will say, yes, that isn't even really true. That will help you there. The third part of awareness is noticing. What are you saying to yourself? Why does my wife always do this? Why do my kids always do this? Why do people always, round me up? Listen, all that is asking yourself a lot of lousy questions. So of course you're going to feel bad. Get to the truth here. The question should be, okay, what do I need to do to make this work? What do I need to do to bring some sort of resolve to this situation? What can I do to make the situation better? Maybe I can't control it all, but I can control what it means to me. If you just have that awareness and you break that pattern, you can get out of a negative emotion in seconds. Then you can say, well, how do I want to feel? Think of when I said, what do you see black? What do you see white? I changed your focus completely by asking one very simple question. What do you see black? What do you see white? What am I pissed off about? How can I fix it? It's that quick. But we say, what am I pissed off about? And then we stew and we circle down, 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 down. What do I want to feel is a question that you should get in the habit of asking. And then to feel like that, What will I have to do with my body? To feel like that, what will I have to focus on right now? What will I have to believe right now? I'll have to believe, you know what? I can turn it around. I may not like it, but I can make it happen. It's just another challenge given to me to sculpt my muscle, to prepare me for something I don't even realize I'm preparing for. Life is the greatest trainer ever. Because what does a great trainer do? When you think that you're at your limit, a great trainer says, give me 6 more. And maybe you only have 3 in you, 3 more, but it's 3 more than you would have done. Now, the next time it gets easier and easier, and eventually you'll do the 6, and then you'll tack on to that. So here's your homework, Eppingwell. And I want this, Perla,
Yeah,
I want this submitted to me
okay.
in like a week. I want you to find 2 incidences where you change the meaning and therefore change the outcome of whatever the situation was. Okay?
Say that one more time.
I want you to find 2 incidences in your life where, because you changed the meaning of something, you changed the outcome. You changed it. You changed the circumstance. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're upset with your kid and you took the meaning of them disrespecting you to them just not understanding yet. And you had this overabundance of patience with your kid. I don't care what the story is. But 2 incidences where you said, you know what? And you changed the meaning, and therefore you got a more positive outcome or a negative one. But 2 incidences where you changed the meaning and the circumstances changed. Okay. Do you guys have any questions on that? Boys or girls? I say guys, but I mean it, you know.
No, but I have an example from this morning.
Can I see you?
Right, I'm kind of over here.
Oh, hey, girl. I see you now. Go ahead.
So when I came in and they started talking about, how did you feel last week and what, and I was like, well, what happened? And well, it was Employee Appreciation Week. And I went, hey, wait, what about me? Hello, I'm an employee too. And I turned that, I was like, no, I chose to work in that office by myself. I chose, and how can I show the team that I'm like, it turned around, so,
But listen, but you also just changed your question.
yes,
What about me?
yeah,
To how can I?
yeah.
And that changed your focus,
yeah.
which changed the meaning in a nanosecond. That's an awesome example. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and that worked, and what I always think about in the same thing is, if I was feeling down and somebody knocked on my door and I won Publishers Clearinghouse, right? Boom, but I chose that, it's still, you know, like, I'm feeling great all of a sudden because of a circumstance, no, I chose, that's the meaning that I took.
That's,
So-
and that's a perfect example, because you also heard her verbally change the question. What about me? To how can I?
Yeah,
And she changed in an instant. That's an awesome example. That is exactly what I was talking about. Does anybody else have an example? Or a question or a thought? Anybody? Nothing.
Well, I am gonna collect the homework, but
I do have to let you know, I was terrible at homework in high school.
Oh, no. You were terrible.
Have to have a one-on-one.
Those special ed teachers did not give you enough attention.
So that has to do with his belief system.
Yeah, well, how can you communicate?
That 8 hours of school was enough. And homework extra. That was extra credit.
But as funny as this is, and it is funny and cute, and I get it. But what we communicate to ourselves on who we were doesn't mean it's who we are. So if somebody's aware that I was really bad at homework, and I know that we're just using this as an example and whatever.
You always got some growing back.
always got something.
You've grown as a person.
Does it mean that you can't get better at following through on what's asked of you? And don't give it that meaning. I mean, I know, again, we're using this as it's a funny example, but the truth of the matter is every one of you are limiting yourselves on what you used to do and holding on to that as the identity of who you are. Just because we were bad at something when we were younger, doesn't mean we're still bad at it as adults. You have the choice to say, you know what? I never followed through on my homework in school, but I'm going to now. And again, I'm using it as an example, okay? But it's the meaning you give it. Does it mean you don't follow through? Or you just haven't followed through yet?
Yeah.
And then now make it so that, you know what? I may not even like this, but I'm going to do it. Because this means that I'm an adult now and I can make better choices. Even if I have to do something I don't want to do, it's still based on the meaning. It's still based on the meaning. And by the way, you probably had to ask yourself, am I really going to do this homework or not? And your brain said, well, you didn't do it in school. Why are you going to do it now? It's still based on the question. Like, am I really going to be asked to hand in homework?
Yeah.
This is kind of bullshit's this. And then your brain said, well, I didn't do it then. And I'm not even going to get graded, nor am I going to lose a paycheck. And you're right. There's going to be zero consequence to any of you if you don't hand in this homework, except for the consequence of you just reinforcing your brain that you don't have to follow through on what's asked of you. You just communicated that to yourself.
There's gonna be consequences.
Or maybe Perla will give you consequence. But, not for me at least.
All the
It's just gonna prove to me, who's in it and who's really committed. That's all. Communication is the direct link to how great or lousy your life is right now. Communication is the direct link to the quality of your life, period. So I strongly advise all of you to learn to communicate better through your body language, through your focus, and through your narrative, your languaging, and you will see immediate changes, okay? All right, folks?
I know.
All right. Have a great day.
Thanks. Good luck.
Thanks, Steve.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'll talk to you later, Perla. Bye, everybody. Thank you for your attention. Talk to you soon. Bye.